Machine Gun Kelly walks in the door, right,
Really?
with a huge bag, the biggest bag of weed I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it, bro. It was like this big.
My name's Aaron Lodge. Most people know me as Bodge. Sunday lunchtime, and I'm sat here with Raith Clarke. The self-made model from Derby.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll get into it.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Definitely. But definitely.
Nice to be back in Derby.
Yeah, man, it's always good to be back. You know, this is like home, innit? It'll always be home, like no matter where you are or what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like these are my people, innit? It sounds stupid, but these are my people, innit?
It's not stupid at all, I promise you.
You know, like when I'm back in Derby, there's nothing quite like that feeling of just like being in town and just feeling like you're surrounded by your people, you know, and that's like the energy.
Whether that's the Bless on a Saturday evening,
man,
or the Derby game.
Yeah, but even as little as I might nip to town to get a t-shirt or some shit, and even then I like bump into people and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is home, you know.
Yeah,
so
straight
it always
up.
Feels like.
This is what Sunday lunchtime's like. It's absolutely sweltering, isn't it?
This is why I've got a vest on. Like, fuck me. It's. I don't know. I mean, do we look hot? I don't know. We probably look hot, but it's hot.
You can ask any of the female population around Derby, does Raith Clarke look hot? And I reckon they'd have something to say about it, mate.
Oh man, God.
So what part of Derby did you grow up in? Like, where's your ends?
So I hailed from Chad.
Yeah.
That's where I was like born, bred. I've lived there pretty much like all my life.
Yeah.
Moved around in areas in Chad when I was younger, but like settled just outside of like Oakwood actually, and like just past sort of Max Road. So
bordering, almost going into Spondon, Oakwood, Spondon, that kind of side.
That's like sort of they were my like stomping grounds, I guess, and shit like that when I was younger. Yeah, but that's where I was from. Lived there like pretty much, you know, been in Derby till I was about 20, 21, and that's obviously when I moved down to London.
Did you get picked up in Derby, or did you move down to London before you started modelling?
So this is the story. So basically, I don't know if you know Tom Morgan. Basically, Tom moved down to London like a few years before I even moved down there, and he was like down there studying like business market management, just doing a madness, because that's what Tom is. He's just does a madness, you know. If he wants to get into something, he just goes full-heartedly into it. At the minute, he's like a music producer.
Is he actually?
Yeah, he's like producing music. I don't know if it's Hakeem actually from Derby.
I'ma give you what you came for, and that's it. Still ain't making no promises, yeah. Cause you don't miss out when I'm gone. I know you're not lonely on your own. You just give me.
He's a singer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a singer, so he's from around this way as well, and he's actually just moved, like, he's back and forth in London and stuff, but like more recently, him and Tom have been like really like working together, like just sort of like bunkered down, creating music, just like, you know, creating vibes and stuff like that. He released a song as well not long ago. It's called Better. Hit that up too.
Yeah,
anyone that watches, you know,
this is it, mate. This is.
You know, I also want to plug everybody that I possibly can.
This is the reason we're here interviewing, isn't it? Really, it's so you can tell your story, but there's people. Derby's such a small connected place that you're only a couple of people away from somebody that's doing something else creatively. You know?
Yeah, man, and like.
But it's nice to see you boys down in London, like just giving it a go at what they're doing as well.
It's unbelievably inspiring. You know, to know that like. You know, not only did Tom like help me in the beginning, like, and we'll get onto that again. Yeah. But he's like, that's the type of person that he is, and it's amazing to see that, and it is inspiring to see that somebody that's like really wanting people to succeed, no matter like who you are. Like they just want you to succeed, and they get like they literally get like pleasure out of other people succeeding. You know, and like that's the type.
And without wanting to say it negatively, like. The truest people like that, they're a bit few and far between sometimes.
Yeah, man, for real, definitely.
Without putting a dampener on the rest of how you see population and that kind of stuff, like them real people that just want to see you do well are absolutely like they're invaluable when you're trying to build a career like you are and that
yeah,
kind of
bro.
stuff.
Literally, like, you know, I owe pretty much everything to Tom for like him like introducing me to this whole like modelling thing, because before that, obviously, it was never even a thing, you know, like. And again, this is like I guess we're going to change perceptions.
I suppose the question is,
sort of
at what point did you realise you was a good-looking cunt?
Bro, do you know what? Like, I've never like even thought about it like that. Yeah, like obviously everyone has like a bit of vanity and thinks, yeah, you know, I'm a good-looking lad, or like, you know, or whatever. But
self-confidence rather than arrogance.
Yeah, that's it, literally. And that's like, you know, like, yeah, I'm sure everyone's been arrogant. I'm sure I've been like arrogant in the past or whatever. But everyone has those moments. So I'm not saying that I'm fucking perfect or whatever.
Nah, not at all, mate.
But like, yeah, like.
It's
Tom
part and
was the one
parcel of that industry, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
this is it. And that's like things that I learned when I first got into it. But like, yeah, so Tom introduced me to it. He was like, yeah, bro, I think you could do it. I've like lived in London for a year or two now. You know, I've seen how this industry kind of works a little bit. And he sort of like convinced me to come to London, do test shoot, and that's how I got signed, basically. So yeah, I have to like thank Tom, because he instilled me with the confidence to even think
to step into that space.
Yeah, and something that I could do, because like before that, fucking hell, like.
Well, I suppose like some models find themselves in that industry because their parents push them. You know how you see like child actors and that kind of stuff, and from a young age they're being like beauty pageants and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's I've seen that as well. Even like doing the modelling thing, like I've seen that, and obviously like not to like say it's a bad thing or whatever, but like I have seen where you've got parents that are like, they've got like a 2-year-old or whatever, and I'm shooting with like a 2-year-old bit, and it's gonna happen because it's gonna happen, you know. But like,
there's a massive spectrum of different work that you do.
I've done a few things. I've been like lucky enough, because obviously it's not like you become a model and everything just works out, and like you're able to like, you know, build a life with it or like build a career of it, because a lot of the time it is difficult. It's a difficult industry.
And there's definite like similarities with like actors and musicians in your line of work.
Exactly, yeah, I think like obviously I think with actors and musicians, I feel like obviously they are on the whole more creative, so their industry is more demanding than like say modelling is. But that's not to like take away and say, oh, you know, like modelling's really easy, or you just have to sort of stand and take pictures or whatever. There's a lot of like sort of soul searching that you have to do. Like I feel like with most creatives, like you was just getting onto there, like I'm sure artists are making music and then they've got questions about what's my sound, or like who am I and what am I making music for, and that sort of stuff,
where does your demographic come from as well? You know what I mean? There's a million different models in the world,
man,
but they cater for different audiences.
This is it, exactly.
And it's about, I suppose there's a few things that have to all smash together at the same time for you to start getting the ball rolling. Like with an actor, can have a breakthrough film that just comes along at the right time.
Yeah, they could be
that script
10
is there.
Years, but that's it. The script's in place, the director's giving the right advice to the actor, making them feel confident, and
it is pure art when that kind of thing happens. You know what I mean? And then they reap the rewards. I mean, you know, Leo Gregory, for example, who does Weekend Offender. He's the model for that. There's not a person in the world that couldn't look at him who hasn't watched Green Street and know that he was Bother. You know, one of them, and you always have that link. That link
always there. And that's those sort of things can help. Like, you know, all creatives. You know, if you've got those like links and those things that like build. I guess we are who we are, and then we build our character around things, around things that we do and the people we meet and stuff, you know, and that's how, you know, you form.
It's gone pretty international for you over the last 5 years. From the point of you being in London, like you're saying, of first walking into that kind of industry, and then you've done some fantastic campaigns with some really, really decent brands.
Yeah, bro.
So just tell us a little bit about that kind of journey.
I mean, so I didn't like get into it, and then everything just like kicked off, and it was like fantastic from the beginning. There was still a lot of hard work, and there was a lot of like, you know, nights of fucking, I'm like got nothing, you know, not even like a penny to my name. And again, Tom was there. He was like, right, okay, bro, come move in with me, you know. Let's just like, you can crash at mine, because that's one of the hardest things, especially if you move into a big city or like London, for example. Finding somewhere to live that isn't extortionate, that's not just going to drain everything that you have.
Box room as well.
Yeah, this is it. And like also having like a support network around you, and I think that helped me to have like Tom, and then to have basically lived with like 4 other guys at the time. And like looking back on it now was amazing to have, because a lot of the time you feel really lonely in London or in a big place like that, you know.
Obviously I used to do acting, that's kind of how I got, like, this is the progression of me doing this, from doing acting and then little bits and bobs of music, but nothing major. But so many people, like, I left college, I went to Burton College, and my mates, well, my best mates when I was at Burton College, they were all going to drama school.
Yeah.
And they went down to London, and they still live in London now. One of them works for like the air ambulance, like taking all the calls and that kind of stuff, and still does bits and bobs of music on the side because he was always that way inclined. But I was always scared to go to London, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I love Derby, and I feel really blessed that I always felt comfortable in my home city, so I felt like I could branch out from starting here and do that and expand. And that's what I'm hoping will happen with this.
Yeah, bro.
But it's scary going down to London and leaving everything behind and starting it's the rat race, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
bro, for real. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I guess anybody that's like, loads of people have like moved or lived in London, or even like, let's say even like Birmingham or Manchester, that's a slightly bigger city, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a little bit of a different vibe. Things are like, it's hard to adjust to those like ways of life, especially because Derby is like, it is such a comfortable place. Like, it is such a lovely place.
Someone
say
it's like a glorified town almost.
So in the beginning, like I say, it wasn't plain sailing. I didn't like just jump into it and everything just kicked off and everything was calm. It was like a good like 6-7 months of like grafting, doing test shoots and all these sort of things, meeting people, meeting clients, expanding, you know, getting my face out there basically to meet people. But eventually after that, with sort of, I guess, like hard work, because that's what, you know, with anything you do, a bit of hard work, a bit of like dedication to it, you know, persistence, like on the bad days just keep going, all of that sort of stuff, you know, like. And we got to a place where I was doing like a couple of jobs, like my first ever job, in fact, was crazy, and it was actually one of the funniest stories. Actually, was my first job. It was a presentation, it's called, and this is what a presentation is. So you basically just put an outfit on and you stand there for a good like hour and a half, bro.
You know,
yeah, literally. That's it. It's got a little collar on. She just stood there chilling. That's literally what you do. That's what a presentation is. It's like, it's crazy.
She wants to know what a presentation is, bless her.
I know, bless
cool.
her.
This is the first point during this whole interview.
She's come and got involved, yeah. Bless her. Yeah, I was doing this presentation, so you like basically whack an outfit on, there's like 10 other people and we all just stand there. Photographers or whatever just come around and take pictures. It's a very like fashion-y thing, this presentation stuff. It's always super creative, whatever like the person that owns the brand, they want a certain vision. So this particular presentation, all our makeup was painted as if we'd been like punched and bruised and all this sort of stuff, and we looked cold and dead. That was what the guy was saying. He was like, I want them to look cold and dead, yeah? So that's fashion. That's fashion. So yeah, on that job, when I went for the fitting, which is where they fitted the outfit and whatever, like the first person that I ever met, and I was like, mate, this is like, is this what this is all about? Basically, I'm at the fitting, like Machine Gun Kelly walks in the door, right, and with a huge bag, the biggest bag of weed I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it, bro. It was like this big. Just like slapped it on the table, and basically like he was there to, I don't know, like Blood Brother got him in to wear an outfit or whatever and just be a bit of an influencer for the whole brand, or
because he already had a massive following.
Yeah, of course, yeah, he's like Machine Gun Kelly, so I mean he's more popular than he was back then. He's always been popular, but I guess, you know,
I don't want to say he was underground, but for a little bit he was like, he mixes the genres of rap and kind of punk a little bit, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he's definitely got
Did you know who he was at that time, though?
This is what I mean, bro, because I'm the most uncultured guy. Like when he walked in, I didn't realise who he was, because like I definitely would say, like, since doing the modelling thing, it's like opened my eyes up.
Yeah,
so
of course, you become more knowledgeable about who's who. Yeah, kind of
bro,
thing.
This is it. Not just that, but just about different ways of thinking, like different cultures, different types of music. Like, you know, like it really just broadened my horizons in a lot of things. Just moving, I guess, to a bigger city and being able to travel and all that sort of shit. So yeah, when he walked in, I really didn't know who this guy was, and I was like, mate, this guy's just like walked in with this gigantic bag of weed, slapped it on the table. He was like, yeah, take
Help
what you
yourself,
want, guys.
basically.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, and that's what I say. That's like one of the most amazing stories, because there's not many like that. Unfortunately, it's not as but you know, but yeah.
Well, I bet it kept you coming back for a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's
thinking,
what I mean,
if this is my first experience,
that definitely helped with the dedication, because there I'm not thinking, well, if this happens on a regular, mate, I want to do this all the time, bro. You get me? Like, I want to
going on with the Will Smith vibe, like, the Fresh Prince on. It's just,
that's me. That would be me, bro. But yeah, and then luckily, like, after that, I've done a few like, you know, campaigns and like worked with brands that, you know, or been to places that before I even did any of this, bro, I'd only ever been on holiday twice in my life. I'd only ever been away twice, and like, so it was.
One of them was to Spondon.
Yeah, you get me? That's as far as I went. Skegness. Went to Ingle Mills. You know what I mean? One of them ones. That was a holiday for me.
Yeah, but when you come from an area where like it's not feasible to go. I mean, the cost of living's gone up massively in the last 5-10 years.
This is it.
But even back then, it wasn't cheap.
This is what I'm saying. Like, it's never been like a place where, I guess, even like in our lifetimes, it's like, you know, you always hear the stories about, oh yeah, I bought a house in the 70s for $8,000 and rah rah rah, and like that's unbelievable now to like think that was even a possibility when you're looking at the average house price, fucking $200,000 or whatever. It's crazy.
Obviously, you can get a nice car on finance nowadays. You know what I mean? Everyone's got one. Everyone's got an iPhone and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck it if you think you're getting like a house at a decent price, or like they'll keep you coming back for years and years. Obviously, uni prices, for example.
Yeah,
that must have been an option that you thought about.
To be fair, academically, I was always like, I don't want to be all like a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but like I think like the way that schools are set up and stuff like that it's not the most optimal way for a school to be set up. And like you do learn a few values at school, but I think.
What school did you go to?
So I went to Leesbrook.
Leesbrook.
Yeah, I was at Leesbrook for secondary school. I went Cav Close.
Did you?
Yeah, Cav Close in the primary days. Yeah, bro. So. Yeah, that's literally around the corner from me. So I feel like schools aren't where they should be in terms of like what you learn and how you are. But I was the type of kid that was like, oh yeah, if he applied himself, you know, if he wasn't like joking and blah blah blah, he'd do a lot better and all that sort of stuff. Which I think I just met a few
jokers along the way,
we just gravitate towards it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, so I wasn't, and then I sort of left school, I went to college for a bit, I did a bit of public services, innit? I was like, do you know what, fuck it. Broomfield level. The thing is, I was there for 3 months, bro. Yeah. And I just was sat there in the class again after being in school all that time. That, for me, personally, wasn't connecting with me as a person.
Kind of the straw that broke the camel's back a little bit.
Yeah, bro, that was it. And I just thought, do you know what, like, this isn't the best way for me to progress as a person. And like, not everybody has to follow the same path. Not everybody has to, everyone has to go to school. You don't all have to get A's. You don't all have to go on to university. If you want to, then the option's there. But like, not.
There's definitely a place in the world for that route as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the route, that's not the only route to success in life, you know what I mean? There's so many things in life, and life is a fucking long ass journey, bro. So,
and it's a big old world as well.
Yeah, massive world.
I'm sure you're starting to explore a little bit more of.
Yeah,
bro. Through your line of work.
Literally, like, it's been an amazing experience to be able to go to like places like, you know, America or Central America, and like places in Europe or whatever, and like experience all these different cultures and like different people and like just different ways of life, bro. I feel like when you hear something that like resonates with you as a person, like I want to be like a sponge to that information, so I take it with me. So whether it be a phrase, whether it be, you know, somebody saying something, whether it's like with what you do, like, well, it's obviously talking about it off the podcast, but again, like when I see you like interviewing people that are from the same place as me, doing these unbelievably like amazing creative things, that's inspiring, you know what I mean? And it's like it's shit that you take with you, and you're like, you know, it just gives you that extra drive, you know what I mean, to just want to do better.
I just think, for me personally, like, there's so many good things in life that you can take from every single day if you look in the right places. This is my way of being able to channel that, and I'm lucky that I know a few people because I come from a small enough city where people are connected. Yeah. And I've made a few friends in like pubs and that along the way, and like through school, and then I decided to challenge myself and go to Burton College rather than going to Derby College. Yeah. Then I was going over to an acting workshop in Nottingham and kind of broadened horizons there a little bit, and then by the time I'm 23, I've got about 6 different groups of mates, and I rate them all for different reasons, and life just doesn't get boring. So then you start going, right, how can I conceptualise this a little bit and make it into something that can be long-lasting?
How do you take these separate experiences and like mold them together? Again, like we're saying, how do you take these experiences and mold them to yourself to build your character, to build like your person or whatever?
And that's what keeps you coming back every day as well, is wanting to challenge yourself, because it's good that I'm not the most confident of people. People like may say, oh yeah, every time I see it, he's like quite an extroverted character, but in some ways I'm a really introverted character. So by interviewing, it challenges me to kind of open up more more and become more a better listener, for example. I'm one of these people that if you watch a TV series and it doesn't catch me in the first couple episodes, I'm on my phone. You know, one of them. And it pisses my missus off because she can sit down and watch stuff.
But that's like the way that we're being conditioned again nowadays. Like our attention spans are being shortened because of like the way that social media works and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that like you're in tune with that and you sort of realise, and we all should like take a little bit of a step back and think, you know, what's really important, what really matters, and all that sort of stuff, and like what makes,
especially on the Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, mate. Bad news.
2 questions in one.
Yeah.
Best campaigns you've done.
Yeah.
And best places in the world that you've visited.
Right. Okay. So probably 2 different answers, because like one's experience-wise, and then one's like the job itself is like, I guess, a big job. So the best experience I've ever had, like I went to Costa Rica for a week. Like, and did a job out there, and literally, bro, like I'd never been to that side of the world. That was the first long haul flight I'd ever been on, and I was going by myself.
How long is it? 11 hours?
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was like 11, or it might have been 9 hours actually. But even then,
that
was
a whole TV series on the plane, like.
Yeah, bro, that was a long ass time. It was like a mad experience, and then just to be out there and like to be doing this job and to be doing a job while you're out there in such a beautiful, incredible place, like that experience, I'll never forget.
Did you source a Paolo One Chop Derby shirt and wear it on the beach by any chance?
No. So to actually even just to go to that place and like, you know, it was for work was incredible, and like it's, you know, it's just experiences that you never forget. But then I guess the best job, I appreciate every job I do, you know what I mean? Whether it's a massive one or a small one. Not only just for money or whatever.
Do they come thick and fast? Do you have much break in between stuff?
I'm not like comparing myself to like, I don't know, actors or anything like that. It's just a similar structure
lifestyle
of work. Yeah, it's quite similar. So some days, like some weeks and some months will be like absolutely non-stop. You can't even get a break. And then I might just like go 2 weeks and like no job comes, and I'm like, oh shit, this is the end. I'm like, oh no, this is it. And then
so I really want to spend all the money that I've earned on them other jobs, but I might not get it again. So you have to put you in a juxtaposition, like.
Yeah, this is it. And I think that's a lot of creatives go through that, and that's the process. And I think, you know, no matter like how, you know, famous you go are, or I think like a lot of people have that same sort of thing.
How many times have you been clocked? Like, is there memorable times where you've kind of...
man, I feel like
from campaigns and that, obviously from Derby, I assume you kind of walk around Derby and people have seen your face and know what you're about.
Yeah, which is nice, and it's lovely to see that support as well, because I think like anybody that's like sort of seen me like in Derby or whatever, they're always really supportive as well, and they're like, oh, it's really good what you're doing, like, and that's amazing. That's what I mean when I said at the beginning, it feels like home. Yeah, and I always say like, everything I do it for fucking Derby, you know, but it sounds cheesy, but I do it because like maybe, you know, somebody's like looking, or somebody wants to get into like a creative industry or do something different, or they will like listen to like some of the people that you talk to, or like listen to something in this little interview that triggers them and thinks, you know what, I want to go and do this, or I'm going to...
Basically the point of what we're doing is just trying to show people that on your doorstep there are people that are doing these kind of things, and it's not a million miles away from the realms of possibility.
Yeah, bro, yeah, because I think a lot of the time, again, we'll go back to like the system in school, you sort of conditioned sometimes to think like, when I was growing up, the only way I had in my brain, my real thought process was like, if you wanted to be a singer, I guess like you'd go on like X Factor, I guess, you know. Do you know what I mean? Because we're almost conditioned in a way sometimes to not even realise what's, like you say, what's around you and the people that you're sort of close to and connected to that can help you achieve these things. Obviously, you have to just broaden your horizons, meet people, and like this.
And daydream a little bit as well, I suppose, and never really forget that life's a beautiful thing in itself. You know what I mean? And it is there to help you out. I know that sounds as if I'm just living in a fairy tale, rainbows and butterflies, but it's about embracing the good and the bad, and moving forward with it as well. I can imagine that in your line of work, where you're constantly changing locations and people that you work with, and I bet you've met some absolute pricks along the way, as well as really good people.
This is it, exactly, and that's life, innit? You know, that is life. That's just one of the things that you like go through, and I feel like for the majority of the time, it's not very often that you'll meet someone and you think, oh, I really dislike this person, you know, like a lot of the time, people are humans and we're all the same, we all want to just get along, you get me, so we all just want to, you know.
Just to name some of the big brands that you've worked for, you did a BMW campaign.
Yeah, I guess recently. I did that one recently. That's probably like, to this date, one of the biggest ones that I've done, because like, you know, cars, innit? It's madness, like, it's mad to...
I saw it on your Instagram story, and I know you've done like Harrods, Marks and Spencer's, and then I just saw that, and it's like, it's becoming normal.
Yeah, but well, this is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still like a strange thing doing this as work, but then you have to just realise that this is what I'm...
How far do you want to take it?
To be fair, as far as it can go, to be honest with you, as far as it can go, like, I've always like flirted with the idea of acting, but I know that that's not like, I can't just become an actor. It's a case of going to acting school and again putting in that work and putting in that drive, and these things are like experiences that you need to, like, you take it all on board and you suck it in like a sponge. Again, it builds that character. I've been to a lot of like castings for like TV adverts and stuff like that, and I've like done campaigns for like Lynx or whatever and stuff like that, so like I've had a little bit of experience in that silent acting realm. Obviously I live in London, so I'll like watch a theatre performance every now and again, because like personally, that's incredible. When I see that shit,
so
that
good,
shit fucking, honestly, it like lights me up, bro. When I'm sat down watching a performance like that and I see those people on stage, like from the main cast to like the backing dancers, it's fucking like electric, bro. It's amazing to see that sort of shit. Maybe that's where I want to be. I want to be just that form of expression and like using your whole body and using your whole being to just, you know what I mean? It's great.
Crosses so many different tangents as well, isn't
it? Yeah, and I think it just is, it's like, I guess, inspiring to see. Like, I'm fucking fanboying over it now, but...
but you should be, because there's a lot of dedication that goes into that, and it's an art form in itself.
Yeah, man, and it's incredible.
All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. So, yeah, I guess that would be, I always think of that as like a sort of a long-term goal as well, to sort of do something in that sort of genre, whether it be pantomime and stuff, to be on, like, work up to something like
Derby
that.
Theatre have got The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
Next month.
Okay.
And
mad.
I'm baffled but excited to see how they put The Shawshank Redemption onto a stage. You know, one of them.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Right,
you know,
Raith,
but yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, safe, man.
My
big
guy.
love. Big love. Safe.
Safe.